I was reminded that what a wild ride it is. And so I just want to remind you that if, I hope there are none of them listening, but if on occasion they act like toddlers, that's in my experience right on cue. Sometimes they go back to ninth graders and they cycle through all the previous adolescent behavior, but then underneath it all is that glorious adult that they've become. And to some degree, they know that they are more than these stages that they've been through. I find it a really thrilling time. I know you've had a lot of decisions to make with them. And this pandemic, of course, has not made anything easier. But my door is open. The doctor is in. I am a senior doctor. And so is Miss Brady, and we are more than willing to help you out as you navigate these next few months. Also, there is a wrecking the nest phenomenon, I will remind you, that happens. Probably happen more for you than for school this year, but they do have to fly out of it, and it's easier to fly out of something that you've wrecked than something that is glorious. So just be aware of that. And again, we're here on this ride with you. I love talking to 18 and 19-year-olds and dearly miss this. But despite all of that, we are here to tell you about how we're going to celebrate these wonderful young people who've been dealt a crummy hand. And they've triumphed over it in so many ways, as have you. We don't have any choice. And I am really glad to tell you tonight about some things that we're going to do in order to celebrate them. So the we here is my dream team of Miss Martita Fleming, who does all the operations, Miss Kate Cromwell, who's the genius who makes all these slides and communicates everything, and of course the director of the upper school, Cara Brady. The four of us have been working together now for pretty much 2 years. And we'll continue to do so as we work to find safe ways to celebrate your kids. So we're going to go through them all right now. There'll probably be lots and lots of questions. We are more than happy to stay on and answer those, but know also that there will be another one of these in great detail about graduation. So we're going to touch on it today, of course, and give you some details, but there'll be much more. So let's get started from some casual things that we're going to be doing for seniors. Can you go to the next slide, Kate? All right, so this Wednesday, the 5th at around 12, we're just going to have a luncheon gathering for them. This is actually at their suggestion, and it will be in the library courtyard outside. We know many of them have jobs and have lots to do. But we'd like to see everybody and start bringing them together again. Then that Friday, next Friday, I will hold the last of the bonfire specials at my elegant parking lot. We will continue with the bonfire theme, even though it could be 85 degrees, but that's fine. And please tell them to come by. I've seen so many of them at my house, and it's been a treat. So tell them to come by Friday. We moved the time a little later so that they can start their evenings at 8:30 when at least this hostess is retiring even on a Friday night. So bring them along. We'd love to have them. So that's next week. Ms. Cromwell, can we go to the next one?
Sorry.
It's all right.
All
right, now, big event. Ms. Brady, are you ready?
Oh yeah. Okay, so one of my favorite things about this prom is that we offered it originally just to the seniors. We were trying to be COVID safe, and we were thinking, you know, we got to try to pull together a prom for these seniors. And they were like, yeah, okay, cool, Ms. Brady, but we want the juniors there too. And it just really spoke to who they are as a group, and I just love that. So I want to share, we're having a junior-senior prom because the seniors want the juniors there. They want to get together, you know, one final time, and honestly, the first time in a while, to be together and enjoy a prom together. So we are going to be having our prom on May 21st. It's a Friday night from 8 to 11 p.m. on our field in a magical tent. Think like backyard wedding tent. It's basically that. Okay, it's beautiful. It's the the girls, the prom committee met last week. We looked at everything. They're super excited. They talked with the program manager, and he has all these great designs, and the lights really matter. And it was just really special to hear the girls talking about what they knew their classmates wanted. So the juniors and seniors will have a prom on the 21st from 8 to 11 in this beautiful tent that will be put up on our field. The seniors may bring a date, and it does not need to be a Latin date, okay? But more details about that. Juniors are coming, but juniors cannot bring a date, and that's because of numbers. All attendees must have a vaccine or show a negative COVID test, and Ms. Fleming will give all of those details as the date arrives, but just keep that in mind. There will be no after prom party this year. It's just not, we believe, a safe decision for this year given everything. So prom, I think the kids are super excited to get fancy and get all dressed up and be together. And so that should be really, really fun. And I know they're excited. Lots of interest there. So Ms. Cromwell, could we go to the next slide? Okay, and then a couple of other things that we heard from our seniors. And again, this speaks to who they are as community members, but they wanted to have a junior senior bonfire like we normally have the junior senior overnight. We go away for a night, we have a big bonfire, we kind of have a sending off of our seniors, and the juniors are given kind of the launching into senior year and leadership and advice from our seniors. And then we kind of share memories and kudos around the campfire. We're not having an overnight, but we're going to do all of that other stuff and maintain that really beautiful ceremony, which has become somewhat of a ritual. And actually, we were at Miss Smith's house at the last campfire at her house, and we said, what do you guys want? What do you want out of the spring? What can we do for you? What's important to you? And they said, we want to eat food together. So that's our cookout before the bonfire, and that is just for seniors. So we'll have a senior cookout on the night of June 7th before the junior senior bonfire, but that cookout is just for seniors. We have a special alum family who has a barbecue business, so it'll be quite delicious, we think. And then we'll have the bonfire from 8 to 11 on the field. Again, anything in person, we are requiring either vaccination, proof of vaccination, or a negative COVID test before coming on campus. So those are just some of the bigger events. Prom, and then this June 7th evening with the senior cookout, and then the junior senior bonfire. That is when finals are over. This is the last big thing before graduation. So that should be something to look forward to. Absolutely, Mia. Yes, yes, yes. Double masks. All of these events, they must wear masks. I'm really looking forward to the prom masks. I think they're just going to be magnificent. I'm very excited about this. Thanks, Ms. Cromwell. That's it for me, I think.
For now. All right, then let's talk about valediction. Valediction, as those of you who've been with us know, is the ceremony that brings the upper school year to an end. Last year we did it on Zoom. This year we're going to do something a little bit different. We're just going to have the seniors in person with the faculty, and the rest of the upper school will be streaming it live. We felt strongly that we wanted to have a valediction in person. Well, actually, I felt strongly because this is my last one as well. And I love this ceremony dearly, and I will be glad to celebrate this with the seniors who will be leaving with me. So that is on Friday, June 11th at 11 o'clock. And you may live stream that as well, and we'll send you more details about that. We'll have a lunch. Lunch will be provided. We've got all sorts of ideas. We spent a lot of time talking about ways to get food to your children. Then after that, at 1:30, we will have graduation rehearsal on our field. The kids asked, what are we going to rehearse? But we will go over with them how to get your diploma, which hand to stick out, how to cross the stage, etc. So we will have a mandatory graduation rehearsal on Latins Field. And as before, the same restrictions will apply. So that's on Friday, June 11th, which is the Friday before graduation on the Monday. We are having rehearsal on Friday in the hope also not to get in the way of any plans that you may have with incoming, if they can come, family from out of town. All right, let's go to the next slide. Graduation. And my favorite design there, Miss Cromwell. I love that lion. We are going to Benji's Drive-In in Middle River, Maryland, where we did this last year. Ms. Fleming is going to go over more details with you in a minute about cars, etc. It may sound odd at first, but it was really a wonderful ceremony, and also the nicest time. And there's some of you, I think, who may have been there as well. We had a tailgate party at 6:30 when the gates will open, and that goes until about 8:20 when the sun sets, and we can start using a enormous screen, the screen they use for the movies, to broadcast the whole ceremony and each child who will be up on the screen while he or she gets the diploma. If you would like to look at it, Miss Fleming, no, Miss Cromwell, you're going to put that in the chat, yes? We have a video from last year. Miss Cromwell, do you want to tell them more about that for a minute now?
Yes, and I'm sorry, I will put it in the chat, but I'm going to wait until we're done looking at these slides. We're almost there. But it's on the website under the alumni tab. There is a page for the 2020 class of 2020, and we had actually one of the parents of a graduate this year is a videographer, and he came last year and made a great video. And you can take a look at that to get a sense of the whole event, from the tailgate to the crossing the stage and everything. So shout out to Scott Ashbrenner, and I'll put it in the chat when we're done, but you could also take a look yourself.
Now, as you can imagine, there are lots and lots of details about this, and I think we've thought through them. I'm banking on the cicadas not making an appearance out there in Middle River, but who knows? But Ms. Fleming will take you through what are undoubtedly some questions about this. All right, Ms. Fleming.
Yep. Hi, everybody. So Dr. Smith is right when she says we've spent a lot of time thinking through these details. You all have the benefit, as the class before you did not, of us knowing what we're doing. Unfortunately, the prior class had to go through 5 iterations of what we're doing for graduation before we ended up with this one. So you consider yourselves lucky there. So there are still some restrictions on capacity at the drive-in. It is a huge space, but Maryland law as of right now is saying that he can only carry half the people that he usually does, so half capacity. So we are asking that seniors bring 1 car per family. We understand, however, that that's not going to work for some of you, that some of you, your children have dual households, that some of you, just your immediate family doesn't fit in 1 car. We get it. You will be getting a form shortly where you can tell us those situations. So 1 car ideally, 2 if not. If it needs to be more, then we need to talk, because we're only going to have room for so many cars here. I will tell you that last year people decorated their cars in really fun ways, and that was super fun to see. The kids, I think, had a good time doing that to the parents' cars. I will also tell you that some people rented bigger vehicles, and that's fine. You're allowed to bring a larger vehicle. You won't be in the front row, because then the Mini Cooper can't see over the Winnebago, right? Not a Winnebago, but you get what I mean. But you can rent a bigger car if you'd like and bring more people. That's okay. We will live stream the event for family and friends who cannot be there, and that recording will probably also go up on our website. So when Ms. Cromwell posts the link, you'll see that the page she's sending you to has both a, whatever it is, 1.5 hour every darn minute of the event from last year, and an 8-minute highlight reel. I refer you to the 8-minute highlight reel, but if you really feel compelled, feel free to watch the whole thing. There will be a tailgate party, so we're gonna open the gates at 6:30, and we won't be able to get started until probably 8:30 when it gets dark. Feel free to bring a picnic. There's also a concession stand, classic drive-in diner type concession stand with all those really bad for you, really delicious foods. You cannot grill, so I'll just warn you about that. You cannot have any kind of open flame or any kind of grill there, so you can't cook on the premises, but you can bring whatever other kind of picnic you want. And then your car is basically your home base. We're asking that you stay relatively close, but families can socialize at an appropriate distance. One of the questions we got last year was, like, how can I be sure that the two cars that are bringing my family are next to each other? The only way to do that, and we'll talk more about this, is to come into the drive-in one behind the other, and there are ways that you can manage to do that. There's a perfectly lovely seafood restaurant with an enormous parking lot just before the entrance to the drive-in. So we're going to suggest that you rendezvous with your party there and then come one behind the other down the aisle. But we will not have any control over the parking. Benji's has a whole system for that, as you can imagine, and so they will be parking the cars. If you have someone who is immunocompromised, if you have a need to be away from the main part of the crowd, that can also be managed. So I say all of this not to go through every possible detail, but to tell you that we dealt with a lot of these last year, and there is probably a way. The one thing that I want to be sure of is that the logistics of this do not feel like they're a barrier for you to come. If there's something that feels like it's going to be difficult to deal with, write to us, call us, get in touch, and we will find a way to surmount that obstacle. We surmounted many, many of them last year. We have lots of tricks. So please don't feel like it's far away and I got to get in my car and I got to be in a, like, I don't get it. We will make sure you get it, and we will make sure it works for you. Graduation ceremony is remarkably like a graduation ceremony. We have speakers, we have music, there's a way to take pictures. Students will line up in small groups, probably groups of 10 or 12, and come to get their diploma. And we will probably just do something a little clunky, like say from the stage, group 1, please come down and get lined up. Okay, group 2, please come and get lined up. So it's not quite as seamless or polished, perhaps, as some other ceremonies, but it works just fine. Families watch from your car, and what's really cool is that you get to see your child walk across the stage and big on the screen walk across the stage. So there's your child in real live size, and there's your child in 65-foot size. It's pretty interesting, and it's probably one of the only times that that's going to happen for you or your child. So we will encourage you all to take advantage of that moment.
And the sound comes through your radio.
And the sound comes through your car radio. And my friends, here's a little fancy tip for you. You will need to figure out how to run your car radio without running your engine, because you can't idle your engine for 2.5 hours, without running down your battery. So on almost every car, there is a way to do that, but you will need to figure it out. If you are like me and you have been the source of ridicule in your household because you held on to that boombox from the 80s, this is your moment, my friends. That boombox or transistor radio is your fabulous friend for this. So if you have one, that's a great thing to bring, because then you just run that and not your car radio. But at any rate, there are ways to make that work.
Next slide, Ms. Cromwell. Yep.
So you're going to get a form. It's going to come to you. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions, some of what I just went over about cars and so forth, also some other things. So we do yard signs. Those of you who have been around for a while or maybe have older siblings know that we do yard signs. We're going to ask you whether you want one. So some people don't like signs in their yard. That's fine. And we're going to ask you for your address. And let me be clear about something here. We understand that right now, some of you are perhaps not in your usual locations. Like you might not be inside the limits of the District of Columbia. Do not worry about that. It is okay. We get it. If you are within a reasonable distance of DC, we will come and put a lawn sign on your lawn if you want it. If you're sojourning in the Outer Banks, you're out of luck. But if you are within reasonable distance, do not worry about confessing to us that you have been in Maryland this whole time. It's okay. We don't care right now. 6 weeks left of school. We're not going to worry about that. Robes, we need to start ordering the regalia for your kids, the caps and gowns. So we need to know roughly how tall they are, roughly how much they weigh. I know that's sensitive for some people, sorry, but there's no way for me to order something that will fit if I don't have some general idea of your child's size. And then finally, the cars for graduation. And there's lots of details about cars in that questionnaire. The only other thing that's in there is that we're going to ask you for your child's legal name. This is important. The name on their diploma needs to match the name on their transcript. Some kids have run into trouble with that later on. if the legal name that goes on the diploma is not the legal name your child, is not the name your child wants Diana to say as they're crossing the stage, that's okay. We can deal with that. So if the diploma name is not exactly the same as what they really would like to be called by, we can manage through that. But we do need your diploma, your child's diploma, to have their real live legal name.
All right.
I'm sure I'm forgetting something in that form, but call me.
Oh, great, Ms. Fleming, thank you. All right, Ms. Cromwell, I think that's it. Can we stop sharing? Great. All right. So let's do this. I'm sure there's some questions. Feel free either to put your hand up, put that yellow hand up, write the question in the chat. If you write the question in the chat, we will answer it orally. We will not answer them in the chat because that tends to be hard for people. So what pros we've all become on Zoom, right?
Yeah.
All right, questions, thoughts? What would anybody like to know? And member of my team, if you see somebody with a hand up that I'm not seeing, please let me know.
We've stunned them into silence.
Yes, yeah.
2 cars for twins, yes, that's fine. That's fine. The cars
Yeah,
don't
Kate.
have to be twins.
Yeah, Kate? Maza?
Hi. What if somebody doesn't have a car? I mean, I have a car. I was just curious about
Got it.
families.
So what
yeah,
we did last year, in that questionnaire that you'll get, you'll see that it says, I have a car, I have a driver, or I don't have a car, or I don't have a driver. So any permutation. What we did for families last year, if you don't have a car, is we basically gave you a gift card to what 1 day's car rental would be. We won't rent cars for you because that violates the terms of our liability insurance on our own vehicles at school, so we can't do that. But we can essentially pay for what it will cost you to rent a car. If you have a car but you don't have a driver, we'll try to figure that out. That circumstance didn't come up last year, but if it does, if that's your situation, let us know, we'll work it out. Students are allowed to drive. It's fine if your driver's license enabled student wants to drive, but we do ask that there be a responsible adult in each car, if that's possible, to like monitor the chaos.
Another responsible adult in addition to your lovely child.
Correct.
Your
Yes.
child cannot drive to graduation alone, however. Question about students at valediction only. We'll do what we've done in the past. If your senior is either receiving an award or being recognized in some way or performing in the ceremony in some way, then we will let you know ahead of time, and you may come in person if you're comfortable with that. But we are obviously going to have to limit the number of people in that space. All right, other questions? Feel free. All right, anybody see any more? Really, we covered everything?
No.
All right, I don't know, no more? Everybody's good? Yeah, Miss Brady, could you talk about dress code for prom?
Oh, yes. So I tell the girls, like, well, at least this time around, we are going to sort of be on a field. So like, if you want to irrigate it with your stilettos, go for it. Thank you. Later, we'll appreciate it, but that might not be fun. So I definitely, you know, prom, nothing super inappropriate. If the girls or boys, or if anyone's really not sure, just let me know. I had a young lady ask me if she could wear a tuxedo. I said, absolutely. There are no real guidelines as far as who can wear what. We just do ask that students cover the parts of their body they should cover and, you know, look appropriate. But, you know, it is more of a formal event, but if someone really loathes dressing up, we can talk about that. That's okay.
Is it hot at the drive-in? All depends, right? Like, we're all crossing our fingers that it's not pouring rain at the drive-in. That will be a little bit unhappy, but it is out in a very large area. It's much more kind of open space than in DC. So It's not as hot typically as it is in DC. I think last year it was, you know, a good 5 or 7 degrees cooler there than it was in downtown DC that same day. Terry, Google Forms will come soon, within the next few days, I would say. So shortly. There's nothing in there that's hyper urgent, but let's see, what am I looking at? Is it buggy at the drive-in? It can be, it can be. There's a little stream that runs near it. We didn't have a huge mosquito problem last year, but if you're one of those people that mosquitoes love to come to, you might think about a little bug spray. It's relatively early, we're in June and not August, so it could be a little bit easier.
So Martita can answer the questions about sitting in the car or not. There's not a bad seat in the house, by the way. You can see the ceremony from everywhere, both inside your car, and you can bring lawn, well, I'm answering the question. I'm sorry, Martita. You can bring lawn chairs and sit around your car as long as you stay close to it. Let me just say one thing about graduation wear underneath the robe. I suggest that, first of all, shoes be the #1 priority, because as Kara said, this also is in a field, and having shoes that don't go well in a field is not a good idea. They do have to walk from their cars up to the stage. So shoes are important. They do not have to be dress shoes. We're striking a sort of drive-in chic, I would say, is sort of what this is. It's casual and also formal.
Did Ms. Smith freeze for everybody?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think
So,
Okay.
I mean, for instance, last year, Miss Smith wore her Converse sneakers, you know, her bright new, brand new red Converse sneakers, and she looked great. So definitely, we tell the kids to wear something comfortable to walk up in, but no real formal wear under the robe. What we're going to see is the robe.
I don't know what happened to me. Sorry, everybody. Did you deal with it, Kara?
Yes. Yep. I think so. I told them that you wore your brand new red Converse last year. So
I did.
yeah.
I did, but it's not a sporting event. So they do need to have either shorts or pants for the underneath the robe.
And I feel like last year we said, and as I recall, this is what a lot of kids did. Some were wearing their robes even before we got to that part, but you know, it's not like everybody goes to the restroom, because there aren't that many, to change. I mean, it's just sort of a slip it over whatever you're wearing kind of moment.
Right.
And I have one little thing, just while I have the floor, that I want to share, which is, I believe this is the tallest movie screen, drive-in movie screen in America. It is 80 feet tall. So this is the 30-minute, whatever, 30-second maybe of fame, but it's pretty awesome. And so to the point about whether you'll be able to see, you will be able to see. Like it's enormous. It's great.
The robes are burgundy. In answer to the question about what color are the robes are burgundy. Martita, why don't you take questions about photographer and those?
Yep. So let me go with a few questions about the cars. You may sit in your car, on your car, in front of your car, behind your car, next to your car. You may bring lawn chairs. You can be in whatever configuration you want. If you prefer, you can back your car in and be in the tailgate, but your tailgate cannot go up above the top of your car, right? Because then it blocks the view of the person behind you. So basically that sort of defined area around your car is yours to occupy as you will. You just can't spread out and go into the area, the parking space next to you. So yeah, there aren't restrictions about that. You can bring lawn chairs, bring all of that. We will have a photographer there. We will take pictures. We will not be able probably to take a group picture as we have in the past. So we won't have a senior class photo because I don't think we'll be able to have them all next to each other that way. But we will be able to get pictures of the senior with their diploma, and then you'll be able to order those later. So yes, there will be somebody there for that. What else? Oh, do graduates sit with their family? Graduates stay by their car. So you pull in, you have your graduate with you, they're by your car, they're roaming around during the tailgate a little bit. They'll come, well, there'll be a moment where we'll say, please go back to your cars, and then we'll announce this. So group 1, please come up, and they'll come from the car. get their diploma, get their picture, walk across the stage and go back to their car. And 10 kids do that, and then the next 10 kids do that. Should they wear masks on stage? So we did allow kids to take off their masks when they crossed the stage last year, just for the moment that they were crossing the stage, because we thought it was a special moment and you all might want a picture of that. So yes, I'm gonna say yes right now, but for the moment that they cross the stage, no, they won't have to. The CDC, I believe, is pretty close to saying people don't have to wear masks outside if they're vaccinated. So we're gonna keep a close eye on how those restrictions are moving, right? Last year, this was a very much a moving target. There was a moment where we thought you wouldn't be able to get out of your cars at all. There was a moment where we thought you wouldn't be able to have any food at the concession stand. All of this is in a little bit of flux right now, and the DC rules are not quite the same as the Maryland rules. So more to follow. We'll keep an eye on all of that, and we'll let you know where we are with that.
Great, thanks. Deanna, you have a question, and then we'll answer about Latin masks, which I'm hoping that we'll make again this year. Yeah.
I have a question about, should they wear their college shirts on the 5th for the lunch so that they can take their pictures together? Or should they wear them under their gowns and you could take a picture, some standing, some sitting on the stage? Get the class?
Not for the graduation one. Let's figure out, Kara, about Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe more for the cookout.
Yeah, maybe the June
just
7th
to get ahead of that. Deanna, honestly, I hadn't thought about that. So thanks.
Yeah,
It's a good idea. We'll get back to you.
Yep.
Notes.
Yeah, right. We did have a special class of 2020 mask, and we'll look at those again. It was great at graduation. People had them on, so we'll take a look at that, creating those again. Other questions? Anything else?
Just to clarify the question about if you have twins in the class, can you have 2 cars? Yes, you have 2 seniors. You have for sure earned the right to have 2 cars.
Are there any restrictions to the kind of car? All right.
I'll have to look at the Benji site to see exactly. I mean, realistically speaking, no. If you were to try and bring like a Mack truck, that would be a problem. The Winnebago example, that's not what we're looking for. But we did have families last year who rented kind of a larger van and brought a bunch of people, and that's fine. Just bear in mind that if you have a bigger car, they're going to park you a little bit further back, right? So they have a whole system for how they park cars, because on any given drive at night, people are coming in like a Honda Fit or a much bigger vehicle. So if you have a bigger vehicle, you won't be in the front row. You can see from anywhere, on a typical like non-COVID restricted night, he takes 700 cars there, I think. So it's a big space and everybody pays, so everybody can see the screen, obviously. If parents are separated, yes, you can drive 2 cars. That's part of what we're trying to accommodate when we say multiple cars. We definitely had kids who said to us last year, an hour and 15-minute drive with both of my parents in one car is not gonna work. So please, can I have 2 cars? And that's fine, we get it. That's not an uncommon situation.
What else? What else?
Did I answer everything in there? Did we get to it all?
I think we're good. Yep, we will work on those masks. I hope everybody's excited. This is fun. Will they be able to take a class picture after rehearsal? Yeah, you know what? We've got to figure out about the picture. We didn't do it last year, and then we pieced something together, but maybe we can figure something out about the picture this year. So
yeah, especially if we're outdoors, might be possible.
Yeah, we'll work on that. We pay the price for the car. Anybody?
Yeah, we pay. There's no charge. No charge for this. So there's no price for your car to come to graduation. 1 or 2, no. How do we show your child is vaccinated? Yes. When I say vaccinated, let me be clear. I mean 2 shots if it's Moderna or Pfizer, or 1 shot if it's J&J, plus 2 weeks. Okay. So if your child has had the first shot, that is not what I consider vaccinated for this purpose. Okay. If you take a picture and you send me their vaccination card, I promise I will not ask you to do it again 3 weeks later for the next event and 3 weeks later for the next event. I will make a record of that, and I will know that your child is fully vaccinated. And as we're moving through, more and more of your kids will be fully vaccinated. So that's fine. So yes, I accept pictures of the card on your phone. Yeah, and Deanna, we know that the same way you do, being walking distance from the Krispy Kreme.
Miss Thaxton and Miss Calhoun, you asked about,
I've gotten from Deanna this week, right? That and cupcake.
Go ahead, Kara.
about can you walk up to the stage to take a picture? We did have families do that.
Yeah.
Your car might be close enough where you can, but maybe it's not. And so you can walk up to get a personal picture. But I will say that some of the photos we have from last year were just amazing. And so you can opt in to look at those as well.
You can see
and-
better here than you could at the previous places we.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and we will limit it a little bit so we don't have a crowd of, 25 people down there trying to take pictures. We'll have to be monitor that a little. So we'll just trust you all to keep yourself spread out, and after your child has walked, step away and let someone else have a turn and so forth. But
Martita and everyone from last year, I want to just reiterate something, which is that, pictures of drive-in movies, there are 20 rows of cars. That is not going to be the situation. You're never going to be that far away because it's just not that big of a crowd. So I feel like we were maybe 5 deep or 6 rows deep at the most, but there were a lot of folks that were just within the first 4 rows or so.
yeah, if you look up Benji's, there are some aerial photographs that show what it looked like. I think there are some that show what it looked like last year when he was under COVID restrictions. There are definitely some that show what it looked like under non-COVID times. So if you see one of those, just imagine every other car is not there, but it's long and it's wide, not that deep.
Yeah, there isn't a mad rush, Christine, at the beginning. I thought that was going to happen. It didn't. And also they park the cars there. I mean, they tell you where to park. They don't get you out and park the car, but they'll tell you where to park and they'll fill you in as they want to do it. So there's no reason to get online the night before.
And I swear to you, there's not a bad seat in the house.
There isn't.
There honestly isn't.
All right, everybody, I'm mindful it's an evening, and unless there are any other questions, please let us know what we can do to help either you or your child. I would like to make one plea. I'm sorry to inject this, but it's just my experience speaking. Please, please, please don't listen to their children if they ask you to host an after prom party. Please, 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 please. This is not the right thing for you, and it's not the right thing for them, all right? Please make sure that they're home and safe after the prom. All right, everybody, thanks so much.